Hey everyone! So today I'm coming to you from my living room because my brother is in my room and he's chilling in there. Today I will be reviewing the new show on Netflix called Sacred Games. It's actually been a really awesome year with Indian sort of Hindi cinema, kind of mainstream cinema, and Netflix coming together. We've had Love Per Square Foot, we've had Lust Stories, and now I feel like the next kind of like big hit is Sacred Games, which is a Netflix original and also produced by Phantom Films. The show stars Saif Ali Khan, Nawazuddin Siddiqui, and Radhika Aapte in principal roles, and it is directed by Anurag Kashyap, who is part owner of Phantom Films, and Vikramaditya Motwane. I also wanted to add that, it's actually based on a book by Vikramaditya. I think he wrote it in 2006. So I actually didn't know much about the show before I started it. I was just hearing about it and I feel like it kind of went viral, and my mom was telling me about it because she reads like Indian newspapers, so she was saying that it was getting really popular, and it obviously came up on my Netflix feed as well. So what's funny is that my parents actually started watching it before me. I just came home from work one day and they were watching it and I was like, what's going on? So they were watching it, and then I also started watching the show, but I finished it before them, so that's one thing. So yeah, I kind of just went into it as like, oh, it's like a really good show. I just knew Saif Ali Khan was in it and I knew Nawazuddin was in it. So I was like, oh, okay, this sounds dope. And it was in the backdrop of Mumbai. And obviously you guys know I'm from Mumbai and I'm obsessed with Mumbai. So I was like, okay, I'm totally down for this. I watched Tu Hai Mera Sunday, which is a movie about Mumbai kind of. And then I watched Love Per Square Foot, which is also about Mumbai. And then I watched Sacred Games. It was just a lot of Mumbai at the same time. And I was obviously just like on cloud nine because I, love watching anything that has to do with, my motherland, my mother city. Interestingly, I feel like all three movies show really different, movies, TV shows, whatever it is, show really different aspects of Mumbai, which is really cool. I've heard many directors and writers say that New York is its own character when it comes to movies and filmmaking. And honestly, the same concept applies to Mumbai. I feel like it just has its own life. It really elevates the story, for sure. I would say visually, Mumbai has a lot of character, but what's fantastic with the show is that direction-wise and the cinematography is just so nice, Mumbai just looks so good. And I don't mean like, oh, Mumbai looks so like hi-fi. Like, no, it looks very gritty. It just also looks very real, but it's not in the way that I feel like a lot of Hollywood directors show Mumbai, where, I don't know, they just show like poverty and stuff. The way that I see Mumbai is the way that Sacred Games shows Mumbai. The way that I think of Mumbai as like this like fantastic city which has a pulse. I feel like that's really what it shows. There were some shots and scenes where on the one hand I was like, wait, is this Mumbai? But on the other hand I'm like, hell yeah, like this is so Mumbai. It was familiar but unfamiliar at the same time, and I really loved it. I think they did a fantastic job. Visually really liked the show. The story is essentially about a cop, Sartaj Singh, played by Saif Ali Khan. And he is someone who is very honest, but also very troubled. He is divorced from his wife. He's just kind of sad. He's having issues with work. He's having issues with his boss. Sartaj also has the added pressure of living up to his father's legacy because he also was an officer, but he was extremely morally correct all the time. And his life is something that he is very proud of and his mother is very proud of. So he really wants to be like his father, but everything and everyone around him is so corrupt, and it just, he's really tested like mentally. So one night Sartaj gets a random call that he thinks is just some guy messing with him or trying to give him a tip. But it actually turns out that it is an extremely huge gangster who everyone thought was not even in the country. Who's the gangster? It is Ganesh Gaitonde, played by Nawazuddin Siddiqui, my man, who's obviously phenomenal in everything he freaking does. So perfect for the role. So perfect. So Ganesh calls him up and is telling him about his life and mentions that he knew his father. So Sartaj has a weird connection to Gaitonde, but obviously he has no idea. There's this crazy, famous, infamous gangster somehow tied in with his father, who gives him the warning that there's going to be an attack on Mumbai in 25 days. And he says, you know, if you can save Mumbai, no one is going to survive. Except Trivedi, but, you know, we don't know who he is. We don't know what that name means. We don't know if it's an organization. We don't know anything. So the entire first season is pretty much just Sartaj's point of view and his timeline, and Ganesh Gaitonde's point of view and his timeline of him telling us about his life, about how he became a gangster, because obviously he was not from any sort of background like that. He wasn't even from Mumbai. You see Gaitonde kind of navigating the underbelly of Mumbai and somehow work his way up the social ladder. I wouldn't even say social ladder really, because he kind of is, he's still kind of living in the dumps of Mumbai. Between Sartaj and Gaitonde, there's Anjali Mathur, who is played by Radhika Aapte. She is a officer from RAW, which I guess would be like the FBI or the CIA. And so she and her team kind of intercept his call, and that's how they find out about this. So then she also finds out about the attack, and she also wants to, you know, unfoil whatever is about to happen. It's actually really awesome to see the 70s Mumbai, the whole like gangster mobster scene and how things were back then. The show actually has two directors. It has Anurag Kashyap and Vikramaditya Motwane. So Kashyap pretty much just shot with Nawazuddin Siddiqui, and Motwane pretty much just shot with Saif Ali Khan. I think Anurag Kashyap is like the perfect person to direct this, because I don't know if you guys know this, he wrote the script of Satya, which is like a really awesome movie about the underworld of Mumbai. Kashyap has also directed Gangs of Wasseypur and Dev D, just like really friggin' awesome work always. And Motwane also has worked on Dev D, and he's also directed Lutera, and he's also directed Uran, and very recently Bhavesh Joshi. The show is 100% directed by very capable people. In the past few years, a lot of issues have been happening between filmmakers and actors and the censor board, and I feel like one of the things that happened with Netflix, with Sacred Games being on Netflix, is that there really was no censor board. So we got to see a lot of things that we wouldn't usually see. Like, everyone always tiptoes around Indian politics. One thing that's shown in the show is the whole Babri Masjid, you know, controversy that happened in, you know, the late 80s, 90s, and the whole Hindu-Muslim politics that played out, and how that kind of led to the Bombay bomb blast. The show has nudity and violence and a transgender character that's very openly kind of shown. Although I do typically find excessive nudity like really annoying, because I feel like it literally serves no purpose except for applying to the, you know, appealing to the male gaze, which just like irritates the shit out of me, but that's like a whole other topic. Yeah, so it's definitely forward, made for an international audience. The show is of really high caliber. The direction is really great. The story, the pacing, everything is phenomenal. The performances are great. I literally would say that after Omkara, this is probably Saif Ali Khan's best role and performance, just because he also just gets like shitty movies. Nawazuddin Siddiqui is obviously always great. I think this is just a really awesome role for him. It's as if like if people internationally didn't know him, well, here you go, now you definitely do. Radhika Aapte is obviously, you know, great. Her role is obviously not as big. I feel like the show is mainly, you know, about Sartaj and Gaitonde. But I would also like to mention that Neeraj Kabi as Parulkar, which is Sartaj's boss, he did a fantastic job. And Jitendra Joshi as Kartikar, which is kind of Sartaj's like side cop. He also did a fantastic job. He really gets their thoughts, you know. Everyone else is just like, you're crazy, like, you know, just fit in, just like try to, you know, just be like the rest of us. Like, why are you trying to stand out? Why are you trying to be extra good for no reason? But Karthik kind of like has his back. Overall, it's a great first season. I can't wait for season 2. We definitely have kind of like a cliffhanger ending, so it's definitely like, oh, let's go next, but you can't. I think it's a phenomenal show. I think it's really putting, you know, Indian cinema, Indian talent on the map, which it totally deserves. I get so pissed off when people try to put, you know, Indian cinema or Hindi cinema into kind of like some stupid box, and they're like, oh, it's just Bollywood, it's just like, you know, colors and dancing. That definitely is Bollywood, and I love that. We make other types of cinema, and we're good at making all types of cinema. And I think Netflix is a fantastic platform for this. I think the world is not ready for us. Alrighty, so that's my review of Sacred Games Season 1. Let me know if you've seen the show and what you thought of it. I would really love to know. And also follow me on social media, Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, for the most part. It's Meher Masala. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Movies with Meher.